Welcome to another episode of the Tough Stuff Podcast.
Be sure to like, love, share, or subscribe wherever you may be watching or listening because we believe God wants to bring encouragement and hope through these stories. What's going on, Tough Stuff?
Hey, we're back.
We are back in the house.
Forever. I don't know if I like this.
It does feel like it has been a long time. Hopefully you've been missing us because we've been missing you. And man, it has been a madhouse.
A madhouse.
We have been crazy. We're back in the house, and I'm ready to get out of the house.
Plus, the Olympics are on right now. That's been fun.
Olympics have been fun. It's been fun to watch my kids. They all want to be, like Sayla wants to run track now, she decided.
And she wants to do gymnastics.
Yeah, then she told me she wanted to be a princess as
well. She said, I want to do that when I'm older.
Yeah,
and
Elijah
really
wants
cute.
to skateboard. It's just cool. It's
Makes
giving
you
him
proud.
he's got a new love for the skateboard again. For those that don't know, I thought I had a childhood prodigy
You did.
on my hands.
You even made him his own Instagram.
I did?
Well, I did. But then we quickly took it down.
At one, Elijah was dropping in at the skate park, man. He was killing it. And then one good fall.
One good fall. And the worst part about that fall was we got it on video.
It
so
was bad.
You can see it.
It was
Yeah,
pretty
it was
bad.
pretty bad.
Should put a link in the
No,
comments.
let's not. Yeah, so the Olympics, and what's been funny is like we've been navigating as parents like this whole balance of screen time and not screen time. And what did I tell Elijah the other day? You can only watch the Olympics
all day.
And he was like, I don't want to watch
You're
the
punished
Olympics.
from the TV. Only Olympics.
But it's been really fun just to watch everybody compete.
It's kind of inspired me,
Oh. Let's actually ask the audience.
I need to
what
do
they
the math right now.
So, Chris very seriously stated, was this yesterday?
I'm doing the math as you go, yeah.
He said, I think I could get that time in the 100-meter dash. And I was like, you mean like you could be in the Olympics? And he's convinced that he can do that. And so I told him, I love you and I think you're fast and strong and all these things, but you're not like you're...
It's just hard for me to wrap my mind around not being able to run as fast as I need to or as fast as I want to.
But you are like nearing 40.
It's 100 meters. It's just 100
Yeah, but
meters.
those are some young guys that are like in their prime,
I am in my prime.
Go
I'm
ahead.
35 years old. This is prime. 30 is the new 20s.
If you think that Chris can very honestly...
I can run a mile, which is 1,600 meters, in 6 minutes or less. So you divide that by 16.
I don't know.
And it would put me at 30-something seconds. But we're talking about that's maintaining that speed for a whole mile. We need to do it.
Okay, well, how about this?
Put the link
We
in
will
the
do
comments.
it, and we will somewhere
100-yard dash.
post it on or we'll just come back next time and give you the results. I think that
Records are like 9. I'm saying I could get like 11.
Okay, you literally said I think I could compete with them on the TV.
With the women, maybe.
Now you're changing everything. This is not even a deal.
I think I could.
You said I think I could get what they got.
I could clock pretty good.
Okay, well we'll report
fast,
back.
babe.
I believe in you, but not like that much.
I raced an Olympian before, remember? At Lolo's.
Yeah, and
for a
you
Christmas party. He was drunk, but I was close.
Yeah, I don't think you were, but I think it's impressive how highly you view yourself and your skills. I think that level of confidence is something that people don't normally have, and I'm extremely proud of you for having it. However, I think
I could get there. I could train.
Okay,
I got 4 years.
Oh no.
This could be my new endeavor.
No, I can't handle a new endeavor. Anyway, the Olympics have been so fun. But what's also fun is last week's episode, or 2 weeks ago. Last episode, you and Matt Busbus were on talking
Matt.
about joy, and that was awesome.
Did you really think it was?
It was
You said it
not.
was a little different.
It was a different episode. It wasn't like the normal tough stuff episodes that we've had in the past, but it was very interesting.
And it's me and Matt. Me and Matt are both different guys.
Y'all are both different. It was good. It gave me a lot of things to think about as far as joy, and also showing the like examples of different things. That was kind of cool.
The
Reaction.
reaction videos.
Yeah.
When Matt originally asked me to do reaction videos, I was like, well, that's not really like. And then he was like, oh, we can do this one of Will Smith. And I immediately thought he was talking about Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. And I was like, I don't know if he knows what this podcast is really about. But of course, it ended up being something with some substance.
It was great. I mean, it was cool just to, hear two people go back and forth about what brings the most joy in life.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's such a crazy subject, topic, I don't know. I could talk about it all day long.
Yeah. Well, speaking of joy, we've had 2 doctor's appointments since our last episode where we talked about our pregnancy, and so we want to kind of take this episode and talk about the last few weeks and how we're doing, and the ups and the downs and all the things that would come along with pregnancy after loss. So was that 4 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago? We went to the doctor, got an ultrasound. Everything looked good. It was reassuring, if if you've experienced loss. And then I'll say this, even this side of infertility where you're constantly getting tests done, the test taking, it gets old.
Yeah. Not even whether you deal with infertility or not, just the fact of you're about to go to the doctor. Like, you think of it like a test. I mean, you think about it in like a school setting. Like, you either pass or you fail. But this is like at life.
Yeah,
like
right.
anatomy scans, like that is like the most like soul quenching, scary thing
Well, we
ever.
haven't gotten there yet with this pregnancy.
No, but just the thought of it. I mean, what if
just
he
to make
had
sure
11 fingers?
Everything is right. Well, it's just the anxiety that comes along with, taking the test. And then for me, it's like even just the walking back into the ultrasound room where, a year prior, that's where I learned we miscarried, and just experiencing all of those old feelings and facing a new reality, but learning how to distinguish between what was old fear and
where we're
what's
at now.
new. Yeah, and so, as a Christian, I think, one of the biggest tensions of Christianity is navigating that reality versus faith tension where it's like, I know God is good, but I know this happened in the past.
Yeah.
So I know, so it's like,
You want to
just
be that
this-
optimistic Christian that's all faith.
yeah.
But it's like, but what happened this time?
Yeah, well, and then I think there's something to allowing yourself to experience those raw, feelings of fear and all those things, as long as you don't stay there. But so we went and got our first ultrasound, and everything was great, and it was awesome and reassuring. And I think for me, it's like, and you don't mean to, but especially after a loss, like you compare every week with the last week. So I'm like, the last pregnancy. So I'm like, okay, I'm a lot sicker now, so that's good. Like, but you start to analyze every little thing, and it gets exhausting.
Oh, when the baby measured 11 weeks,
That was
this past week, I was like, yes. Because that's where we were last time.
Right, because last time I was at 11 weeks when I miscarried. But here we were
healthy,
and the baby was measuring 11 weeks. That was this past Tuesday. And so it's just this whole thing. But you know what is so awesome to me, and I've mentioned this on this podcast, a good doctor is everything. So, like, pregnancy and infertility and miscarriage and loss and all these things, they're traumatic events. And so, what I have grown to appreciate the most throughout the years of our journey is that our doctor is like the most compassionate,
She cares.
empathetic person. And so I'll never forget was that 2 weeks ago, she was like, okay, well, if you want, I'll see you again in two weeks for another ultrasound. And I was like, what? Because usually you don't get that many
Yeah.
in the
You
beginning.
get like, what, 3 or something total?
Yeah, sometimes even 2. But I was like, no, like I can really come again. And she said, I just know the next 4 weeks are going to be like scary. And we have a soft spot for those that have been through loss. And so it's important to me that you feel like okay. And so I want to see you again in 2 weeks. And so that happened this past week, and we got to see the baby. And actually, the baby was measuring a whole week ahead, which is good.
And dancing,
And
which is
dancing,
good.
yeah.
Fits into
It
our
was
family
moving,
great.
yeah. So that was really cool. But what's interesting about this week is that we saw, and I don't even remember the name, and don't even
Oh, you're
need to
going
say
there.
it. Yeah, I was gonna. Well, that's part of the journey. Is like,
Buccal fold.
okay.
Did you not want to say it?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, we're in the ultrasound room. It's cool because we're seeing the baby, and the baby's moving.
Oh, it's all
The
amazing.
heart
As
rate
perfect as
is
could be.
amazing. We're having this moment. I'm getting emotional. We're just all over the place because it's there's just so much that goes through your heart
Redemption.
and through your mind in the middle of a journey like this. And
Yeah.
so we're in the ultrasound room. Everything goes great. We're seeing the baby. Everything is good. So we're thrilled. Then we get up to the doctor's office, and we're in the waiting room, and I get the results on my chart, and in the other section of the results, it mentioned like this one thing, and I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And so
No, I don't think you were like that. I think I looked over and I saw you, and I was like, "What are you talking about? To who are you? What are you doing?"
I was in my deep Google. I was deep diving into whatever this was. And so, because usually like on the results, it lists like, everything that was normal, whatever, found or whatever. And so there was like an other section. And on the other section, it said something, and I had to Google it. Like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And when I Googled it, it started bringing up things about like, could be indicators of genetic disorders, could be chromosome like issues, all these different things. And so I went from being elated, like I was like,
Yeah. So much redemption.
yes, so much joy, so much just reassurance. Like when you've been in the ultrasound room and you've watched your baby not have a heartbeat, and then to see another baby have it's just, it doesn't, there's no
Yeah.
comparison in
Yeah.
the way that feels. Well, then I'm in the waiting room and my heart sinks because I'm like, what is this? And so, of course, I start Googling and get on Reddit and do all these things. And, I kind of worked myself up into like a tizzy.
I was gonna say tizzy. Took the word right out of my mouth.
I mean, I'm thinking the worst. I'm scared to death. You know that feeling whenever like fear comes over you and you're just like, you almost get like a hot flash and you're just like lightheaded almost. Like that's how I felt because I was going down this rabbit hole of Google, which you should not do.
And then, of course, as a classic husband, I think I came out with the everything's gonna be okay.
No, you came out with just stop looking at that. And
Oh,
I was
yeah.
I was like, well, that's comforting.
That's the same thing. Everything's gonna be all right. Stop looking at that.
I was like, I feel so comforted, and I am like in such a Gosh, I'm nearing the end of the first trimester, so I've been so sick.
Praise
And I've
God.
been so hormonal, and I'm just all over the place. So I think I look at you, and I was like, that's really comforting.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Because I was
You're not
like,
helping.
you're not helping at
How do
all.
you stop?
you're not you're not feeling this with me. Well, it was just like this moment of like we finally got, over the hump of the ultrasound because I worked up the courage to go in there and you know let that happen, and then we get here, and this is like a new roadblock, and so I'm just overwhelmed, and that feeling of like paralyzing fear where you're just like you just feel out of control. That's how
Well,
kind of
yeah, it's paralyzing because there's nothing that you can literally do.
nothing that you can do. And on the ultrasound results, it wasn't like they measured this thing and it was determined that it was like a negative outcome. They just mentioned that this thing was was
Prominent.
prominent, and so it was very vague as well. So it was kind of like when things are vague and you get results like that, you're just left to fill it in with what maybe
Yeah.
the worst case scenario, or for that's what I do. But so then we get in with the doctor, and she's so excited because the baby's healthy and everything looks good, and she walks in and she's like, "Yay!" And she's like, "Oh no, what's wrong?" Because I'm like freaking out. And, she explains,
It's too early to
it's
even
too
really
early,
look at that. They didn't measure anything.
she explained how common it is to have this happen and all this stuff. And so what was, I think you looked at us and you were like, well, why didn't you respond? What did you say?
Oh, when I said that, it didn't go so smoothly because you're like, oh, thank you. I feel so much better. I'm like, what? When I said that, that is not the response that I got.
But it's different coming from your doctor, and she just like
It's
is
different coming from anyone other than me.
yeah, true. Well, but she's the doctor,
Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, I feel a little bit better in that moment, and it's just cool, again, to have a doctor that is trauma informed, that understands the weight of a moment like that, because she came in so excited, and then she saw that
Yeah.
there was
She like put
things
herself in your shoes.
yeah, and so that was cool, and
Yeah.
she's actually sending me back for another ultrasound. I was like, man, I just keep getting ultrasounds in the beginning.
And we did the genetic testing deal,
Yeah.
which will even determine sex.
Yeah, the gender. So I think maybe on the next episode, potentially, we may do a live.
You'll know by then.
I know. We might do a gender reveal on the episode where you guys find out, like, with us. Not live, because it won't be live, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean. So that'll be fun, because we're both split in,
Team boy.
yeah.
Got plenty of people with me.
Yeah. So what was your take on the doctor?
I think there's just, I don't want to say I'm manipulative, but I'm manipulative in life.
You are?
Like, not in a negative sense. I mean this, just track along with me. Like, there isn't many circumstances that I can be faced with or that I have been faced with that I don't know how to somehow manipulate the situation to get the result that I want. So, I mean, I think I can make the best almost out of anything. Even
Are you talking
sleeping
about,
on
like-
the street. I can somehow
Like you're able to reframe.
either reframe or do something about it.
Okay.
Sleeping on the street, you're
But
like,
in this situation,
I can go find a place to stay, or you get into financial issues. Oh, I can go do this real quick and make money. There haven't been too many situations or circumstances in life that I can't do anything. And whenever I'm faced with those, it is a very uncomfortable thing of like, because I just almost get almost fidgety of like, what can I do? What can I, even like, what can we take? What can we do? Where can we go? What do we do? How can we fix this or change this or manipulate this situation? And when you can't, you just feel stuck.
you're almost like forced to just sit in it, And
Yeah.
the guy's perspective, you don't have like a lot of physical connection to the baby. Like I am sick and I'm, feeling all these things, and so I can imagine like it would be hard to stay fully like dialed in.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, I'm pretty dialed in. I don't know. It's just a lot, you know? So it's just, I mean, a lot of prayer. I mean, even in the sense of like saying what I was saying earlier, I've been kind of meditating on and praying, in your weakness. I boast in my weakness because he is strong, and there's not too many areas in my life that I typically boast in my weakness. I usually try to pull myself up by my bootstraps and make something happen. But it's just one of those things that you really do have to sit in your weakness and allow him to be strong and allow him to be who he is, and for God to somehow do what he needs to do.
Yeah, I was thinking about how, like, the longer you're a Christian, you know, it's almost like the harder and the easier it gets to trust God. Like, I feel like the heat gets turned up almost. And so there's these hard circumstances that we're going through that we have to, bite the bullet and trust God. But then at the same time, the further along you get, the more experiences where God has come through and God's
Yeah.
been faithful, like you have on the docket. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yesterday I was so scared and so discouraged. I like stayed in bed all day and I had like a pity party. And then today it was like, okay, got to
I
get up.
think the closest emotion is being in jail. Like you have no control. You can't change anything, no matter how bad you want to, no matter how much willpower you can will up. Like you can't do anything about it.
Well, I don't know what that feels like
You
to
do
be in jail.
now.
I do now. Yeah, but it's like, I think it's so important to like experience the raw. Like I feel like the pity party that I had yesterday was holy. And I mean that because I allowed myself to be fully,
To grasp the weight of the
yes,
situation.
like grieve and question. And, I had moments with God where I was like, can it just go smooth? Like, can it just go smoothly? Can we just, we battled infertility. We lost a baby. We've experienced all these things. And a lot of times I find myself, especially in these kind of moments where I'm like, can it just go easily? Like, can we just get it like easy for
Yeah.
one, and especially in this lane of our life, which I think this has become like our greatest like testimony as a family is just the infertility and the loss and all the things related to fertility and parenting. And I just find myself like questioning God, like real, like again, like can we just get it, you know, handed to us? And I think I think God appreciates when we ask him questions like that, because it's like we're allowing ourselves to really feel, like you said, the weight of it. And then today I woke up and I was like, you know what? God is so good. If God is, whatever happens, I know God, it's his will and he's going to like guide us through it and
Yeah.
be with us through it. And then I'm fine. And
Yeah.
so I think it's just like when it comes to navigating difficult circumstances, it's like being willing to allow yourself to feel and then letting God pick you up after. You know?
Yeah.
You know what else I was thinking? Thank God that you are through the mental health crisis
Oh,
that
could
you
you
were in,
imagine?
because navigating all that, it's just funny how God puts us each on our own paths where we're facing the hard things in different seasons, because you are single dadding it right now.
Fully single dadding it.
I mean,
I get to come see you at night. Not for what I want though. Just to actually see you and get to talk to
So,
you for a little while.
aren't I enough? It's so funny because I am so sick. I mean, I was not this sick with Selah. And so,
So if we have any voluntary nannies out there, now is your time to step up. I need help.
Chris is single
We
daddy.
decided to try to potty train at the very beginning
Oh,
of this
horrible.
thing.
Horrible.
Well, I say we by you decided to potty train
Horrible.
in this thing.
And then I realized, like, I'm so nauseous, I cannot even, like, handle her
Anything.
using the bathroom.
So now we've just got these smaller pull-ups that are getting filled quicker and worse, nastier, and now I'm left to deal with them.
You are.
But it has been an experience.
You
But I've
are
gotten
a
to
single
spend so much
daddy.
time with our kids, and I feel like even for them, it's been I don't know. We've been learning some new tactics, some new things, you know.
Yeah.
Even with the TV and trying to figure out what works, trying some different things for Elijah's zeal, for lack of better terms.
His passion and energy.
His hyperactivity. I do think we'll name this next child Tranquil or Serenity or Calm.
Quiet.
Yes. But it's been fun. It's been, our kids are developing their own little personalities, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, it is the most amazing thing in the world. And that's why I can't imagine another daughter, just where I would put that much emotion and feeling and love, you know? Like, I can handle another, like, grunt, you know? Like, oh, let's be a dude, punch me in the arm, you know? But another girl doing what Selah does, I don't know.
What does she do?
Don't know how it'd be. She's just her, you know? You'd have to see her. Like, everything she does, when she says yes, you know, it changes your life. You know, she copies Elijah in everything he says, even if it makes no sense for her whatsoever. And it's just awesome.
But you didn't know that God was going to give you the margin you have for her. So you don't know how, like, if it was another girl, you wouldn't know until you got there.
The Lord hears my prayers. It's a boy. I saw it on the ultrasound.
Oh,
I'm getting really good at reading these things.
whatever.
It was like the first thing she said, no, that nub is not a boy
That is
part.
not a boy part. Man, so
But it's been a fun season of life, you know. Got a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
Work is picking up. You know, I got some dreams in my heart that are finally kind of coming to fruition,
Yeah.
which is exciting, nerve-wracking, very vulnerable.
do you want to talk about it or?
I mean, sure, you know.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
I mean, anyone who's known me has known that for a while now. Well, not for a while now, but I was raised by a single mom in the mall. So I like clothes. I like aesthetics.
Wait, you like
I like
clothes?
vibes. And now I'm not really able to afford any clothes because of all my kids. So now I've got to start a clothing line to get some new clothes. But honestly, I've had this dream in my heart for, I don't know, probably 3 years now. And it's been so funny because, like,
I think it's been more than 3.
probably longer than that. I mean, actually, like, having the branding name and the thoughts and the vision for the actual production of it has probably been maybe longer than that. But it's been one of those things that, like, I've kind of slept on. And I don't know if it's, you know, like, even you remember back in, like, school, like, we had so many people in Bible school with us that were like, I want to be a missionary to Africa, and that's what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to do this, and that's what I'm going to do. And this is one of those weird spiritual things where you're like, you know, do I do anything and let God do everything? Or do I move in a direction I feel nudged to or passionate about and hope he meets me there? Or do I just take life by the horns and do what
Make it myself.
Yeah. And I've always kind of leaned more on the, you know, God opens all the doors and I just be faithful with where I'm at. And I think that's a good lesson. But I've also had this burden in my soul for this thing. And it's been confirmed by multiple times. I opened up a boundaries book one time when we were in the middle of our marital issues. And the first chapter of the boundaries book was all about like being faithful with the ideas and the creativity that God's planted inside of you and being a good steward in that way. And I'm like, what does this have to do with boundaries at all? But God, you're speaking to me about this clothing deal. And then I still didn't move on it. And then, another year later, I've got somebody that asked me to coffee. And we're sitting at coffee, and he's like, hey, man, I want to start a clothing line. Can you help me? And by help me, he basically means just give him all of the, like, trade secrets and things that I've studied and, what I think will work so that he can go do his own thing. And it really, like, kicked me in the butt of, like, well, if you're not going to be faithful with what I've put into you, I'm going to give it to somebody else,
Wow, I remember that.
And, man, it was just like, all right. So then I still, like, and I don't know if this goes back to, like, not having a dad, but it's almost like I've been waiting this whole time for, like, a fashion father to come along and be like, the fashion father.
Jerry Lorenzo, just to be
If Jerry would just come by and just say, hey, Chris, I know God's put something in your heart. Let's make it happen, and takes me under his wing, and it just hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. I've liked all of his posts. I've commented before.
You probably DM'd him.
No, I don't think I read.
Really?
No, not Jerry Lorenzo.
Oh, you'd be too embarrassed.
I mean, I just don't think he would ever answer,
Oh.
Spoken like a true fatherless child.
Yeah, wow.
But I just feel like, and a lot of this birthed out of that mental health season last year of like, man, let's go for it. Mm-hmm. Let's live. If God has put it in your heart, he's given you vision, don't wait for him to. A lot of times I'm waiting for him to open all the doors and then kick my butt through all of them,
Mm-hmm. Well, I think sometimes, too, is a timing thing. Like, you might feel like you missed it and now you're playing catch up, but really God may be wanting it to happen right now. I think so often he's developing our character. I mean, think about our marriage. Like, I couldn't celebrate your creativity back then, whenever you were starting this idea. And so.
You bought me a sewing kit one time.
Yeah, you didn't sew anything.
Yeah, I did.
You did?
I sewed some pants. I did all kind of stuff.
Ow. And I just think now is the perfect time. And so, I don't think you should beat yourself up for being like, thinking that you're delaying this. I think it's right on time.
But at the same time, man, it is so vulnerable. It is like I'm having people ask me to like see stuff, and it's like, man, it's like showing them the inside of your soul and hoping they agree that they like it, or like it doesn't really make sense until you see like the collection as a whole. So like all I have is like one piece here, and they're like, well, I can't really show you. I don't know. It's just a lot, man. It's like coming out and saying, hey, do you love me?
I don't know if you've ever like put yourself out there this far with your creativity.
Yeah.
Because you're a very creative person.
Well, thank you, babe.
But you kind of have kept it to yourself, I feel like.
So it's fun. It's exciting, nerve-wracking, trying to, and also one of my tendencies is to not really follow through with things. So I'm like,
you're a great starter.
If I had a team of 10 people to accomplish the ideas and thoughts that I have, we'd be rich. We'd be great. We'd be in a great place. We'd have 20 businesses, It's just actually getting down to do the nitty-gritty and, man, pulling measurements on shirts and trying to figure these things out. That is, and I feel like maybe that's what God's teaching me in this season, to do the grunt work or the labor, the toil, and see what happens with it. So it's exciting. It's been fun. We'll see how this thing comes out. It should be out, I don't know, maybe by the end of this month, maybe.
Whoa.
September sometime. I like at least by sometime in September to really have everything launched.
You've been like, you bought a heat press and you've been
Don't tell my secrets.
crafting at night, which has been really fun to watch.
It's been fun.
I know.
It's been a fun little project. So it's exciting.
Yeah.
God, there was something else that I wanted to say about it, and I can't remember what it was. But that's okay.
Well, I think this just might have to be a short episode.
Yeah. Somebody's
Yeah.
cutting the grass out back.
I know.
Hope y'all hear that. Enjoy that.
Yeah.
Comforting sound of
Comforting
a
sound.
lawnmower.
Yeah, I mean, maybe what we can start doing is shorter episodes, but it be us like walking through the pregnancy as if this goes on, you know? I think that might be fun. Just, I don't know. I know there's got to be somebody out there that is experiencing this same exact stuff, and I just hope that, somebody would feel seen,
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
Yeah. Well, y'all be praying for the health of our baby.
Praying for us, praying with us, praying for me and these kids as we get through the
Chris,
first
single
trimester.
dadding. Yeah, I'm nearing the end. I have to be like I'm starting to have like some good days, which
Amen.
is good.
Take it.
But yeah, we'll continue to update you guys, and maybe next time we'll have
We'll know the gender.
which will be fun.
Yeah. Is that really
Accurate.
accurate? Yeah.
Yeah, I would think it's the most accurate.
If you've
the blood
ever,
test?
yeah. But I thought maybe there was, I might be making that up. I thought somebody had one that said something and didn't.
Wouldn't this be like the chromosome?
Yeah.
Like you can't.
I guess you're right. You're right, babe. You're right.
Well, yeah. So maybe next time we'll jump in with the gender reveal. That'll be fun.
Be fun.
Yeah. Well, until next time, guys. Like we always
Gonna
say.
miss you guys.
Oh.
Life can be tough.
But God is still so good.